Hey guys, in today's video, we're checking out the app Mixing Station. This is one of my most requested videos from you guys in the comment section. So here it is. So this is the best app that I've used to mix digital mixers. This will work with Behringer, with Midas, with Allen&Heath, Soundcraft, and with Mackie mixers. My favorite thing about this app is that I can mix from my phone even. A lot of these digital mixers, they require you to have an iPad or a tablet in order to mix their mixers, but with Mixing Station, I can actually do all of this from my phone. I can either do a full mix and control the entire mixer, or I can just control individual in-ear monitors, so I can mix my in-ear monitors from my phone as well, which is really cool because if you use the Behringer X Air series, you know you can't actually do that from your phone. So this is awesome. It's extremely customizable. You can literally build your own layout and design it how you want it to look. I've heard a lot of people say that the other apps crash a lot with them and that Mixing Station works a lot better. So if you are having problems with another app, Mixing Station is worth looking into. I love that it's the same layout and the same app for no matter which mixer I use. I will use either the Behringer X32 or the Behringer X18 or 16. And with this, now I just have one app that controls both of them. I don't have to have two separate apps and two separate layouts. This is the main app, actually the only app that I use to mix my digital mixers now. If I went over every single feature in this amazing app, this video would be 2 hours plus long. So instead, I'm going to show you how I use it and why I like it to see if it's something that you're interested in. So we're going to check this thing out. FYI, this is not a video about how to work a digital mixer. I'm not going to show you how to use compression or EQ or anything like that. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm showing you why I think Mixing Station is the best app to use in order to control your digital mixers. So before we get started, this is a music tech channel. I do tutorials, gear reviews, I do gear giveaways on this channel. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell to be notified when I put out new videos, and hitting the thumbs up button is a free way to support the channel. All right, let's check out this amazing app. Okay, so when you load up Mixing Station, it's going to look like this. So these are the options that you get of different mixers that you can control. You have all of these by Behringer and Midas. You have these by Allen&Heath, these by Soundcraft, and this one by Mackie. So I believe on Android, you get all of them for free, but you have an option to upgrade to the Pro version. On iPhone or iPad, you have to go up here and you have to click the licenses in order to buy each one of them. Or what's going to happen is if I try to do like an Allen&Heath one, which I don't have, and I hit search, it will say I can either continue in trial mode for 15 minutes or I can buy the license. So you don't have to buy every single one, just the ones that you're going to use. I personally use the X32 and the X Air. So those are the ones that I have bought. So I'm going to click the X Air. So first of all, there's one thing that I want you to do first. See where it says no restrictions up here? I want you to click that. So if you are going to use this to have full control over the mixer, you're going to have that set to no restrictions, so you can control everything in the mixer. However, if you are just using it just to control your monitors, you would hit personal mixer, and then you would choose which bus you are plugged into. So if you're plugged into aux1, or aux2 or aux3, you would choose that, and then you only have control over turning up and down the volume of your in-ear monitor mix. I'm going to do no restrictions for this demo, obviously, but this is great because you can mix your in-ears from your iPhone. So on most mixers, you usually have to search for the IP address. However, I just hit search. It finds it automatically since I'm connected to the network, and I hit connect. I am personally doing this hardwired connection with an Ethernet adapter cable. If you're interested in how to do that, check out my video on that. Okay, so first I'm going to go over just the general overview, editing channels, faders, bus sends, and stuff like that. If you don't care about this part and want to just understand the customization, skip to this part right here. Also, FYI, when it starts up, it will likely ask you a couple of questions right off the bat. Just hit next, 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 and you can get back to that menu later under something called the setup wizard. But just for right now, just hit next, 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 and we'll come back to that later. So one of the things that I love about this app, and I will show you this here in a little bit, is I can set this so that I can have 8 channels, or if I wanted to have all 16 channels in a row if I wanted to, or something different. Again, I will show you that here in a minute. I know I'm zipping through this pretty quick. I just wanted to show you that you have options on how you have this set up. So starting over here on the right side, if I wanted to see channels 1 through 8, and adjust faders and stuff like that, it's right here. If I want to go through 9 to 16, those are right here. If I wanted to turn on and off the mutes, I would have to enable mute enable over here on the side. So if it's disabled, I cannot disable these mutes. If it is enabled, now I can disable all of the mutes on here. I have access to my aux in as well as the effects. Here's my mix buses. I personally use those for in-ear monitors. So this is my master fader for my in-ears. You have master control over the effects, the main left and right, And then you also have the DCA if you use that as well over here. I'm going to go back to the 1 through 8 because that's pretty much what I'm going to stick with. If I want to go to one of the sends on faders, so this is my in-ear monitor mix and I can adjust this. So if I need more click or if I need more tracks and stuff like that, I have control there. If I wanted to adjust my wife's mix, I can do that here, turn down the click, turn up the click, turn up her vocals, and so on and so forth. I can do that with all the other mix buses as well. Here's for the effect sends. If I wanted to add more effect sends to my vocals for effect 1, but effect 2, I wanted to add more to Danielle's, I could do that there. And I can also do gain adjustment right here as well, which is nice. So if my guitar needed to be gained up a little bit, I could do that here. Just general controls over here on the right side. Now with controlling each of the individual channels, so let's say if I wanted to control my vocals, which is channel 2, I'm just going to click where it says Scott Vocals, and it opens up right here. Now I love this because this page just gives you a general overview. You can see gain, the phase, if there's phantom power, if it's a stereo one over here on the left, then you have the gate, you have the EQ, you have the compression, and then you have all the sends on the fade. So if I need to turn up, effect 1, send, I can do that here. If I needed to turn down my send to my in-ear monitors, I can do that. And then if I wanted to adjust anything, I can just click it. So if I wanted to adjust the EQ, I would just click the EQ and it automatically just shows up and I can start, making adjustments to whatever I needed to do. Turn low cut on and off and stuff like that. If I wanted to adjust the compressor, I would just click the little graph for the compressor and I can start making adjustments to the compression and stuff like that. So this is kind of like the overview one, but if I wanted to go more specifically, I can click these top menu buttons up here in order to cycle through some of the different options. So this is the overview. This gives you a little bit more depth. So I can edit, I can assign this to a mute group. I can turn a low cut on, set the input source. Here's the gate. Here's the EQ. Here's the compressor. Here are the different sends, what's being sent, and then here's, the master output. Very easy to use. It's just a well laid out system, and I like this a lot better than some of the other ones that I've used. Also, if you use these arrow buttons over here to left and right, I can cycle through them. So now I'm on channel 3, now I'm on channel 4, now I'm on channel 5, now I'm on channel 6. So I can scroll through them up here as well. If I wanted to edit the color of it and the design of it, I'm just going to hold on where it says Scott Vocals, and it gets me into here. So now I can change the name of it if I wanted to. I can change the color of it if I wanted to choose a different color. And I can also assign a different icon right here. So right now I actually don't have the guitars assigned. So let's go ahead and assign those to that. So you can assign all of that in here. And you can also assign all of these down here. So bus 1 is my wife ears. Bus 2 is my ears. For the shows where we have a drummer, I would call this drum ears. Could give it, a different color if I wanted to, and so on and so forth. I can also name the reverbs. So this will be like room, reverb, and so on and so forth. One thing that I do like about this is see this fine button right here. So if I have that disabled, the faders move very quickly. It is a very drastic up and down movement, but if I set it to fine, it moves a lot slower. That definitely makes it easier to get exactly where you need it to be. And then also, if you need to get to your effects, it's up here. You just click the effect button. So this one has 4 different effects. So if I wanted to edit the plate reverb, I would click it, and then I can start adding, how much decay do I want and stuff like that up there. That's just the general overview of how the layout works of this. I love the layout of this system, and it's just very well put together. Okay, so now for the customization, because this app is so customizable. So first of all, I'm going to go to the gear icon up here. And for me, the big one is doing layers. So I play in so many different bands, and we all have different arrangements. Sometimes we perform as a 2-piece, as a 3-piece, 4-piece, up to a 6-piece. It's always going to be different. And when you go to channel per layers, when you click that, you can say how many faders do you want on one screen. So I'm going to set this to 16. And I'm just going to say yes for right now. And now you can see I have access to all 16 faders right here. So on an iPad, that can be nice. I actually do this on my iPhone as well when I'm playing, when I have 16 channels that I need to adjust my in-ear monitor mix for. So whatever is on here, I would adjust them up or down. I actually like having it all on one page as opposed to having 2 separate pages. So if you prefer to have 2 separate pages, go back to here, go to layers, and set that to 8. And now you have channels 1 through 8 up here and channels 9 through 16 right here, and you can make adjustments accordingly. I personally like to see just what I'm going to need. So if the show that I'm doing, I have to mix 16 different instruments, I'm going to set this to 16. And now I have all of it on one page. In this case, as you can see, when I just do a duo with my wife, we just have 6 inputs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the layers to 6 inputs. And now just the 6 inputs that I need to control are right here. Nice big faders, and it cleans it up a lot. I really like that. Now, all this extra stuff over here, I don't really need access to this. We don't have a bus 4, 5, or 6. I don't really need access to that. I don't really care to have, the room reverb sends over here as well, because if I need to adjust something, I like to just do it right here, like I showed you earlier. So for me, I don't need all this stuff over here on the side either. So you can go to these layers, and I can actually remove this. See where it says channels 7 through 12? I don't actually need that. I don't need access to the aux. I don't need access to any of these, and I don't need the DCA. So I'm going to set that up, and now you can see it's cleared it up over here on the side. Now I only have the 3 options that I need. Here's the main 6 channels, here's the master for the in-ear monitors, and here is the main volume. Very simple. What about all these buses and stuff over here? I don't really need all of that. Let's go back to layers and see over here on the side, you can say what do you want to be visible. So I don't need access to bus 4 through 6. Like I said, I personally don't need access to reverbs, just the way that I do. If you want it, you can, but I'm going to disable all of those. And now it's nice and clean. Just what I need over here. If I need to adjust my ears, the drum ears, or my wife ears, I have that right here. Very cool. But it goes beyond that. So you can go to layers. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to set this to 7. And FYI right here, if I say no to this, it doesn't reset everything back. But if I say yes to that, it basically will undo everything I did. Sometimes that can be nice if you screwed up and you're just like, I don't know what I just did. Just hit yes on this and we'll go back to normal. But now, again, I'm going to delete all these things, and I'm actually going to delete the mains as well because I don't actually need access to that. And again, I'm going to disable all of these over here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this edit button right here next to channel 1 through 7. And first of all, I'm going to name that so I can click up here and call it a name. So I'm just going to call this everything because that's what it's going to be. Now, what's cool about this is I can choose what do I want to see on this page. So I do not need to see channel 7. I'm going to remove that by clicking right here. So if I wanted to see, effect 1, if I wanted to see the room reverb and stuff like that, I could. But what I actually want to do is I actually want to add the mains in here. I'm going to click main. So now I'm going to have the first 6 channels and then the main as well. And I can reorder that in any order that I want. Say I wanted the mains to be very first in the chain. I could do that. My wife's guitar goes into channel 4 if I just wanted to move them together so that it's her vocals, her guitar, my vocals, my guitar. I could do that in whatever order I want. So if I did this, now when I go back, now everything's in the order that I want it to be. And now this is just the main screen. I literally never have to leave this screen unless if I really needed to adjust the master outputs of the mix, which I don't really need to do. This is the main page I need. I have access to everything. If I need more tracks, I can turn it up. If I need less of my guitar, I can turn it down, and I can control the sends on the fades for the in-ear monitor mixes you can hear. And I have access to the master fader right here. I didn't like having to go to the next page in order to change the master volume. Most of the time for our shows, I just need access to the 6, the main output, and then our in-ear monitors. That's it. So now everything's just on one page. I've custom laid it out to be how I wanted it to be. And again, I'm going to actually set this back to channel 4 because that will confuse me because that goes into channel 4. So now you can see that it's in the layout of vocal, vocal, guitar, guitar, tracks, click, and then here's the main. If I need to turn it on or off, remember that I have to have the mute enable on, and now I have access to everything that I need on one page. You can customize this to be however you want it to be. If I wanted to add a new layer, if I deleted something that I needed, you just push this plus button right here. I'm going to say layer. I'll show you spacer here in a minute. But on this one, let's just say I wanted to have the reverbs and these channels right here. And again, I can drag them in whatever order I want down here. And I can give this a name. This is just called layer. Let's just call it something, because again, I'm not really doing anything with this. Now you can see that there's another layer right here, and now I have that layer right here. So again, custom access to whatever I want on the different layer options over here. I'm going to go ahead and delete that because I don't need that. And the other thing that's cool is you can also add a spacer in here. So I'm going to actually click duplicate. I'm going to duplicate the spacer a bunch, and you can actually drag the order of this as well. So now I'm going to put that mix one down a little bit, and now you can see there's actually spacing in between them. So you can space these out if you prefer as well, which is very cool. And you also can drag, the order of everything. So if I wanted the drum in-ear monitor mix to be up top for some reason, I can also drag this around. See the customizability of this thing? The amount of stuff that you can do in this app is pretty killer. And remember, if you ever screw up, you can always just go to channels per layers and let's set it to 8 and then just say yes, and it just kind of resets it back to where everything was. I'm going to just quickly just kind of set this back to the way that I prefer. I'm going to do that off screen. Okay, so a couple other things that I want to show you as far as just the customization. So go to that gear icon. And remember that setup wizard that I talked about? Let's go ahead and open that. So you can set, you know, what's the best screen size. So how many channels do you want to be seen per layer? Again, I already showed you how to do that. I'm going to just set that to 7 because that's what I have it set up as. But when you hit next, now here's one that's cool. So for the sends on faders, if you set this to small and hit next, I'm going to show you what that does. This screen, I'll actually show you here in a minute on what that does. So I'm going to hit done and go back to here. So now instead of the sends on faders having an option for all of them, I can actually just click it and say which in-ears do I want to adjust. So I'm going to do my ears, drum ears, or Danielle ears. I personally prefer it the other way. So I'm going to go back and I like to have that set to large, because then I just have easy access to each of them right here. That's the way I prefer, but you might prefer it another way. Okay, so like I said, I was going to show you that thing about channel strips. This is really cool. Hit the gear icon and then click channel strips up here instead of layers. Channel strip. Now in here, you can see on each of the channel strips, what do you want to see? Do you want to see the icon? You can do that. Do you want to see, you know, a compression like threshold? Do you want to see the compression diagram? You can see the gain knob if you want that specifically. Just keep in mind, I mean, the more stuff you have on here, the more room it takes up, but you get all the options on here of what you want to see. You can also add solo in here if you need to. Mix on, channel icon. I think my singer has channel icon on his. But the thing that's also cool is you can also move this around. So if I want the channel icon to be down here at the bottom, I can do that. If I want the mute to be down at the bottom instead of at the top, I can do that. Now when I go back, now the mutes are down here and the icons are down here as well. So you can customize it by going to this channel strip and setting it exactly how you want it to look. I'm going to set this back because I do like having the mute up here on the top. And now it's back to the way that it was. So you get full control over what you want to see on the channel strip, which is pretty killer. And on top of that, you can also resize everything. So say I want the mute button to be bigger, I can do that. Say I want the icon to be bigger, I can adjust that. I want the panning to be bigger so it's easier to access, I can adjust that. So all of this can be moved around and resized. Really cool. You can also customize a few things. So again, remember, you can always click the question mark button if you want to see what something does. So some of the things that I like to do is this double tap. So when I double tap a fader, so where you can see I'm under the fader menu, on a double tap, I want to reset the value. So now when I double tap like my vocal, it goes back to just unity gain. That can be cool. You can do the same thing with the sliders. So you can set the sensitivity of the sliders. What happens when you long click one of the sliders? So if I go to the panning, if I long press on it, it brings up the panning so that I can set this up, and then a double tap will actually reset it back. That's all customizable in the channel strip option right here. I'm not going to go over every single one of these, obviously, but I just wanted to show you a couple of those and see how much you can customize just the channel strip. A couple of other things that you can do in here. So I've gone over the layers and I've gone over the channel strip settings. But just in regular app, there's something in general where you go to the theme, regular. Now people have other ones saved. The date modified is a little off here, but this high contrast one, if I want to load that, it has a completely different look and feel to it. This can be helpful for playing outside in really bright environments and stuff like that where dark mode isn't really working. So I can go back to theme and just reload the regular theme if I want to as well. Solar, dark, you have all sorts of different options in here. I'm going to load the regular one. And on top of that, you can go into the theme edit right here. You can customize literally everything. What color do you want it to be in the backgrounds when something is active, when something is not active? Like, I mean, look at all the stuff that you can do in here. I'm not going to mess with this. You can literally customize the entire outlook of the app if you want to. Super crazy. Going down to Mixer, there's a couple of things here. So again, you can set the sensitivity of the sliders if you want. So the EQ and the knob slider sensitivity. So you know if the EQ is moving too fast when you move it, when you adjust it, you can adjust the sensitivity in there, which is very nice. This one I personally really like. So down here are the sends on fades. So the sends on fade background on. I really like this because so when I'm in just regular mixing, you know, front of house mode, I'm right here. But when I load Danielle's ears, it turns the background pink because her channel, I color coded pink. Remember, you can hold it in order to get back to this edit mode. So hers is magenta, the drums are red, and my in-ear monitors are blue. So now when I'm in regular mode, it's black. But if I hit her ears, now it's all pink so that I know that I'm adjusting her ears. If it's blue, I'm adjusting my ears. If it's red, I'm adjusting my drummer's ears. That's a good way to not accidentally forget, oh, I'm on my ears when I'm trying to adjust front of house or something like that. That's super cool. So I definitely like having that on. And then just a couple other things that you can do. So you can save snapshots, and this is gonna, I believe, depend on your mixer, but most of them should. So the snapshot one, and you can see I have all these different snapshots saved. So if I wanted to save on 13, I would just hold it and I would just call this YouTube demo. And now it is saved, and I can choose what do I want to save with it and what do I want to, reload with it. So if I didn't want to save the global settings, I could disable that here. But now so now I can load. So this is my acoustic solo one. So if I wanted to load that, I would load that up. And now this is set up for the acoustic solo, just guitar and vocals. And that's it. Let's go ahead and go back to this one, the one that I had kind of set up already. Okay, and then on top of all of that stuff that you can do, you can also go here and you go to layouts. And what you can do here is you can create your own blank layout and customize this exactly how you want. So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to hit open on this one that I saved. This is how I have it laid out. So I have the mute option right here to turn on and off the mute of the mains, just an easy button right here. I can go to my sends on fades, Danielle sends on fades, and I have access to the main menu right here. That is literally all I need. This is a custom design that I made so that I can do whatever I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this plus button right here to create a new layer. And now I have access to move this around in whatever way I want. So I can shrink this, move it up here, shrink it down a little bit more, move this over here, and then I'm going to say I want to add, let's say, general, just a button. What do I want that to do? So I'm going to adjust the size of the button, click it, edit it. What do I want it to do? Add an action. Okay, so I was editing, and in hindsight, I don't think I did a very good job explaining that. So I'm just going to start from a completely blank layout, but you push this plus button under layouts, and it kind of gives you, this starting point. I'm going to actually just delete all of these. Start from absolute scratch. So when you hit the plus button, it gives you all of these different options here. So you can have some certain presets. So let's say the bus, the master bus. And again, I can drag that to where I want it to. There's a couple of other ones like mixer, the mixer in general, and that could be up here, and you can size that to be whatever size you would like it to be. It will go based on how you have the layers set. But now let's do a couple of, kind of general stuff. So here's a fader with nothing currently assigned to it. It's just a fader, and I can assign it later, and I'll show you that in a minute. Let's do another thing. Let's just do a knob, and also general, let's do a button. And again, I'm resizing it. I'm just doing this just to show you kind of just in general how you use this and then where you go from there. So if I want to edit what the button does, I'm going to push the button, literally, and then hit edit. The main thing that you want to focus on is the add action over here. So when you push this button, what's it going to do? So see where it says current channel? I'm going to click that, and I'm actually going to set it to a fixed channel because I want it to specifically adjust a fixed channel. If you wanted to adjust whatever, the last channel you used, you would leave it on current channel. Just for simplicity, I'm going to set this to fixed channel. So on which channel? Let's say channel 3. I want this to turn the mains on and off. That's what I wanted to do. Channel 3, turn it on and off on a fixed channel. And I can also call this whatever I want. So I can call this C3 mute. And now that one's done, and that's labeled accordingly. Let's do another one with the knob right here. Click it, and then hit edit, and then add action. Not on the current channel. I'm going to do this on a fixed channel. I'm going to set this to a fixed channel. On channel 3, I want to adjust the pan. That's what I want it to do. Obviously, you have way more options in here. I'm just showing you in general what it does. So this is going to be C3 pan. And now that's saved as such. I can also save this layout. So let's call this one YouTube. Save it just by hitting the gear icon. And now that's done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the YouTube layout. And you can see that it's laid out in the same way that I had it. This fader literally is assigned to do nothing, so it's not going to actually move. If I want to turn the master up and down, I can here. I still have control over everything normally from the mixer. But then what you can see, when I push that button, I assign this to mute channel 3. So now I have quick access to turn on and off channel 3 if that's important to me. And here's also the panning. Remember, I assigned this to the panning on channel 3. So now I have a knob specifically for doing the panning on channel 3. You literally can build this thing from scratch. But if you want to customize your own layout, you can do that however you want. We have a show tonight. I might actually, use this layout where it's just, hey, here's her sends, here's my sends, and here's just the main mute when we go on our breaks. That's so cool. It's so customizable how much stuff you can do on this app. And hopefully this video has helped you understand the power of this app. Okay, so I hope that helped you guys out. Like I said, this is the only app that I use now for controlling my digital mixers, and maybe it gave you guys some ideas of why you might be interested in doing that yourself. And again, you can always download it for free, use a trial version, and if you want to buy it, it's only like $7 or something like that in order to get access to the full version. Definitely worth it in my opinion. So I hope this helped you guys out. If you guys made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. I'm assuming if you made it to the end, you found this video helpful, and it does a ton to help out the channel and feed the YouTube algorithm gods. So I would appreciate it. 2 other videos of mine to check out. I recently reviewed the Audio Technica wireless in-ear monitor system, and this is my new wireless in-ear monitor system. It's kind of a hidden gem. I wish more people knew about it. It's replaced my other one, and I have a video walking you through why. And I also have a video about 10 cheap items if you have an in-ear monitor rack. You can check out both of those videos by clicking the links on your screen now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any other videos that you guys want me to make, please leave them in a comment down below. This video actually came out because a lot of you asked for this video. Don't forget to follow me on my Instagram at ScottYourMusic. Thank you guys again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.